The jungle sky burned red. It started with silence, then a sudden roar. Trees snapped like twigs, birds scattered, and from the deep brush of planet Virexa, the apex came, 7 meters tall. Its claws could crush steel. Its breath melted armor. And its roar, oh, that roar made seasoned alien warriors drop their weapons. But today the apex didn't roar. It purred. Zara, a young alien scout of the Virexan High Guard, stood frozen behind a mossy rock. Her squad had been sent to investigate reports of a human survivor in the jungle. But this was not what she expected. A creature feared by every species in the quadrant stood calmly. Its blood-red eyes were half-lidded, tail gently swaying, and beside it, petting its armored head, stood the human, just petting it. Like it was a house animal. Zara blinked hard. No. No way, she whispered. The human turned. His clothes were torn, chest scratched from the jungle's rage. A smirk danced on his face as he looked at her. Hey, he said like they were neighbors. Don't worry, he won't bite, unless I tell him to. Zara's pulse raced. This man was unarmed, no tech, no armor, just human. And yet the deadliest predator on the planet sat beside him like a trained pet. 6 days earlier, start of the War Earth and the Virexan Empire had signed peace treaties. But treaties meant nothing when greed entered the picture. Virexan mining teams discovered xenostone beneath the human colony on Virexa Prime. They wanted it. The humans said no. Then came the attack. Missiles lit the sky. Alien dropships landed. Within hours, outposts were burning. The humans fought, but they were outnumbered. One by one, the survivors fell back into the dense jungles. That's where the apex ruled, and that's where he disappeared. His name was Logan Pierce. Not a soldier. Not a hero. Just a mining technician who refused to die quietly. The jungle should have killed him. The apex should have devoured him. But something strange happened. Logan didn't run. He didn't fight. He fed the apex. It was stupid, insane even. But he noticed something. The beast had a wound, an arrow still buried deep. It limped. It growled in pain. So Logan, bleeding and half-dead himself, walked toward it, slowly, offered it meat from his own rations. It stared at him, and didn't strike. Instead, it lowered its massive head, letting him pull the arrow out. From that moment, something unexplainable formed between man and monster. Now back to the present, Zara raised her weapon. Her hands shook. The apex growled, protective of the human beside it. Logan stepped forward. Easy, he said softly. He's my friend. Now, you don't need to shoot. Zara didn't lower her weapon. That thing killed half my squad last week. Yeah, Logan replied. But he didn't kill me. Why not? I don't know. Maybe because I treated him like a being, not a beast, Zara frowned. No one tamed an apex, not Virexans, not humans. But this one, this human, had done the impossible. Her communicator buzzed. Scout Zara, respond. Did you find the target? She looked at Logan. And the apex. Then she whispered, negative. No human found. Logan blinked. Why'd you lie? Zara lowered her weapon. Because I want to know how you did it. And maybe we'll need your help. Zara kept staring at Logan like he was some kind of myth. The human stood beside the apex predator with complete calm. He gently scratched behind the beast's ears, and it responded with a low growl that almost sounded pleased. This was impossible. Apex beasts didn't obey anyone. They were killing machines, untamable, untouchable. They destroyed anything that moved, especially aliens. But here it was, protecting him. Does he have a name? Zara finally asked. Logan chuckled. Yeah, I call him Brutus, because he's big and mean, but not without a heart. Brutus let out a deep chuff, almost like a sigh. Zara's jaw tightened. You don't understand what this means. If the other Virexans find you, They'll kill you both. You're a human on enemy territory. And worse, you've tamed our apex predator. Logan raised an eyebrow. Would they kill me because I survived? Or because I proved one of your strongest beasts could be reasoned with? Zara had no answer. Meanwhile, at the Vyrexan forward base, Commander Icar slammed his fist on the console. The scout hasn't reported in. Another soldier bowed. Shall we send a strike team? Icar growled, his black-scaled skin rippling with fury. Send two and scan for human life signs. If he's alive, I want his head. No more games. He turned to the holographic map where bright red marked the jungle zones. One mark blinked faintly. The last location of Scout Zara. She's either dead, or she found something big, Icar muttered. Back in the jungle, Zara led Logan through thick vines and mossy stone ruins. Brutus walked beside them like a silent tank scanning every movement in the trees. So, Logan asked, why are you helping me? Your people started this war. Zara glanced back, her voice low. I didn't agree with the attack. We were told humans were weak, greedy, and dangerous. But I watched your people defend civilians, even stay behind to hold off our forces. That's not weakness, that's courage. Logan smirked. Glad someone noticed. They reached a small cave behind a waterfall. Inside it was dry, quiet, and safe. You can stay here, Zara said. But soon others will come, and if they see the apex with you, Logan finished her sentence. They'll assume I've corrupted it. She nodded. Logan leaned against the cave wall, sighing. Then we need a plan. Not just to survive, but to show them that Brutus isn't just a monster. Zara looked at him carefully. You really believe that, don't you? That this creature can choose? He already did, Logan said softly. He chose not to kill me. Suddenly, Brutus growled. Low and deep Zara spun around, weapon raised. 3 Vyrexan soldiers appeared from the trees, silent, fast, armored. They froze when they saw the scene. Human, apex beast, a fellow scout not in combat mode. What is this? Barked one of them. You've gone rogue, Zara? No, she replied quickly, stepping forward. Stand down. This human, Logan, is not a threat. He is the threat, one shouted. That beast beside him has slaughtered entire squads. He saved it, Zara argued. It listens to him. That changes everything. Logan raised his hands. Hey, I don't want trouble. Just peace. One soldier raised a blaster. Peace is dead. Roar! Brutus leapt in front of Logan, jaws wide, claws smashing into the dirt. The 3 soldiers immediately froze, trembling. One dropped his weapon. Back. Off. Logan's voice was quiet but filled with command. Brutus snarled, but didn't attack. He just stood like a wall between Logan and the soldiers. It was clear. He would kill for this human if needed. After the soldiers fled, Zara looked at Logan with wide eyes. Do you know what you just did? He shrugged. Protected myself. You made a statement. One that the whole Vyrexan Empire won't ignore. Logan looked at Brutus, who had now sat down and was chewing on a large bone. Then let them come, Logan said. But maybe, instead of fighting, we teach them something new. The next morning, the jungle was unusually silent. Zara paced near the cave's entrance, watching the rising mist. Her communicator buzzed again, but she didn't answer. If the Empire knew she was protecting a human and a tamed apex, they'd brand her a traitor. Inside the cave, Logan fed Brutus pieces of cooked meat. The massive predator lay stretched out like a lazy cat, tail swishing slowly. It didn't act like a monster, not around him. Zara finally stepped inside. I need to send a message, Logan said, standing up. Not just to your people, but mine too. Zara crossed her arms. How? We record a holo, he replied. Show the truth, show Brutus with me. Show that violence isn't the only answer. Zara stared at him, almost amused. You think a message will stop this war? No, Logan said calmly. But it might stop the next one. Hours later, the recording begins. Logan sat on a large rock, Brutus calmly curled beside him. Zara stood behind the camera drone, nervous but focused. The red light blinked. Logan looked straight into the lens. "My name is Logan Pierce. I'm just a technician from Earth. I was left behind after the Virexan attack. I should have died, in this jungle. But I didn't. I survived because I helped a creature you all fear." He reached over and gently scratched Brutus behind the ear. The beast didn't flinch. "This is Brutus. He's supposed to be your apex predator. But what if he's more than that? What if all of us are more than what war says we are?" Zara's eyes widened at the words. She could feel the truth in them. "I didn't tame him with force. I showed kindness, respect. That's something every side seems to forget during war. You call me the enemy, but I'm just a man trying to live." He paused. "If you come for me, know this. I won't fight with weapons. But Brutus might, not because I trained him, but because he chose me." The recording ended. Zara stood frozen. "That's going to get you killed," she whispered. "Or change everything," Logan replied. Elsewhere, Virexan capital world. The message leaked. Someone on the soldier team had recorded Logan's encounter with the beast. It spread like wildfire across Virexan networks, military, civilian, underground. Even children watched it in secret. The reactions were mixed. "That human is dangerous. He's lying, that beast is drugged." "No. Look at the body language, that apex loves him. It's fake. A trap. What if it's real?" The High Council was furious. Commander Icar stormed into the meeting room. "This changes nothing. That human must die. The beast too." But one council member, older and quiet, finally spoke. "This changes everything." Back in the jungle, Zara's hand shook as she placed the encrypted transmitter back into her satchel. "You're crazy," she said. "You just made yourself the most hunted man on this planet." Logan smiled. "Yeah, but I also made them think." Brutus let out a low huff and stood, his massive body blocking the sun. "Someone's coming," Zara said, pulling out her scanner. "Ships, lots of them." "Yours?" Logan asked. She looked at him. "Yours," Logan blinked. "Earth," answered the message. Zara nodded slowly. "And they're bringing diplomats, not bombs." As dropships entered the sky, the Virexans watched from the trees. Some aimed weapons, some whispered, but none fired. Because below them a human stood beside a living nightmare, calmly, and that sight alone shattered everything they were taught. Brutus stood tall beside Logan as the Earth diplomatic dropship slowly touched down. Zara watched from the side, her fingers tight around her blaster. Not because she planned to use it, but because she wasn't sure who to trust anymore. The Earth soldiers that marched out looked stunned, not at the alien jungle, not at the massive alien scout standing nearby. They were staring at the apex beast. "It's standing beside him," one soldier whispered. "Holy hell, it's not attacking." The lead Earth diplomat, an older man with gray at his temples, stepped forward. "Logan Pierce?" Logan gave a tired wave. "That's me." The diplomat eyed Brutus nervously. "And this is?" "Brutus," Logan said, patting the beast's leg. "My friend." Zara stepped forward. "He didn't tame it with weapons. He showed mercy, it remembered." The diplomat raised an eyebrow at her. "And you are?" "Zara, Virexan scout. And his current protector." The tension was thick. No one knew what to say. Earth soldiers looked ready to fire. Virexan watchers in the trees did the same. Then Brutus sat down. Just calmly sat. And licked his paw. The Earth diplomat relaxed a little. "We've received transmissions. Your message made it to our leaders." "And?" Logan asked. "They want peace talks." Later, that night, in a temporary camp, a table was set in the middle of a wide clearing. A small fire crackled between the two sides. Earth diplomats on one end, Virexan envoys on the other. Logan sat quietly, sipping water. Zara stood behind him, her armor gleaming under the firelight. Brutus lay beside them, curled like a sleeping dragon. Neither side spoke first, until the Virexan envoy finally growled, We do not make peace with humans who mock us by taming our gods. Logan didn't flinch. Then maybe you've misunderstood what gods really are. The Virexan narrowed his eyes. Explain. Logan stood. I didn't tame Brutus. I helped him. He helped me. That's not control. It's trust. You call it a weakness. I call it survival. He glanced at both sides. Neither of us wins if this war continues. My people don't want to die. Yours don't either. But your empire said we were violent, wild, dangerous. So, I tamed the most dangerous thing in your jungle, without force. The Virexan envoy slammed a fist on the table. You shamed us. No, Zara interrupted. He showed us something we forgot. Compassion, even among monsters. The clearing fell silent. Back in the Virexan capital, the hollow of the peace meeting broadcast everywhere. Some Virexans cursed Logan's. Name others, began to think. Children started drawing pictures of the human and the beast. Some warriors questioned orders. One elder even said, if the apex no longer hates, why do we? Commander Ikar was losing control of the narrative, and he knew, so he ordered a strike. The next morning, a surprise attack explosions rocked the jungle camp. Laser fire rained from above. Earth soldiers scrambled. Virexan diplomats ducked for cover. A secret faction loyal to Ikar had ignored the peace talks and launched an ambush. Zara grabbed Logan and pulled him behind a fallen tree. This isn't from my team. Someone's trying to destroy the talks, Logan shouted over the noise. Where's Brutus? Row! The answer came fast. Brutus tore through the attackers like a storm. He didn't kill, he disabled, slamming ships, smashing weapons, roaring so loudly, soldiers dropped to their knees. He stood between the attackers and the diplomats, defending both human and alien. The image, caught on multiple drones, spread instantly across the stars. A beast bred for war, now fighting to protect peace. After the attack, the diplomats were shaken, but alive. Zara looked at Logan. That wasn't just a battle. That was a message. Logan nodded. Yeah, the old world is dying, and a new one's waking up. She smiled faintly. And in that new world, the human is the one who reminded us how to feel again. Logan glanced at Brutus, who now curled near the fire, tail twitching. And the monster showed us all what loyalty really means. The peace camp was quiet again. Smoke still rose from the burned trees. Damaged dropships lined the edges of the clearing. And yet, nobody left. Nobody surrendered. Because something had changed. Everyone had seen Brutus, the apex predator, protecting the peace talks like a guardian. That image burned itself into the hearts of both humans and Virexans, but not everyone welcomed that change. Far away, in a hidden fortress, Commander Ikar stood in front of a massive screen, replaying the footage again and again. The human. The apex the Alliance. He slammed his fist into the metal wall. They've made a joke of us, a joke of me. That human has infected our people with weakness. His second-in-command approached slowly. Sir, even our own warriors are starting to question the war. Some say the apex has chosen sides. Ikar turned, his eyes burning. Then it's time we remind them who holds power. He activated a locked console. A red light blinked. I'm launching the final command. Code, Skyfall. The officer froze. But sir, that weapon was banned. It targets everything within a zone. I know, Ikar snarled. And when the jungle burns, so will the myth of the human and his beast. Back in the jungle camp, Zara tightened the straps on her chest armor. I don't like the quiet, she muttered. Logan crouched near Brutus, cleaning the beast's injured leg. Yeah, me neither. Brutus took a few hits in the attack. He needs rest. He won't get it, Zara said grimly, showing him her scanner. We've detected a strange satellite signal moving over this region. It's broadcasting something old, something forbidden. Logan raised an eyebrow. Like what? Something called the Skyfall Protocol, she said. Brutus growled, low and deep. He knew something was wrong. Zara continued, "It wipes everything, life, tech, even stone. The Empire created it during the last galactic war and locked it away. And Icar's bringing it back," Logan said coldly. Zara looked at him. "If we don't stop it in time, everyone dies." Emergency meeting. Midnight, the diplomats were stunned. "We just began talks," the Earth ambassador said. "And now your people want to melt the entire jungle?" Zara stood between both sides. "No, not my people. Just Commander Icar. He's gone rogue." A young Virexan envoy spoke up. "If we fight back, this war continues forever." Logan stood slowly. "Then we don't fight back." Everyone turned to him. "We go in," he said. "Into Icar's fortress. Shut the Skyfall system down before it launches." The room was silent. "You're insane," someone whispered. Zara stepped beside him. "He's right. It's the only way." Logan looked at Brutus. The beast's yellow eyes blinked slowly, but there was no fear. "Then let's do it." Infiltration. Dawn, they moved through the jungle, Logan, Zara, and Brutus, escorted by a small mixed team of human marines and Virexan rebels who had refused Icar's orders. The jungle grew darker the closer they got to the fortress. Motion sensors blinked. Drones buzzed, but Brutus took the lead, smashing paths through fallen trees and disabling patrols with brutal precision. They reached the cliff edge. Below it, a black metallic compound hidden under vines. Zara pointed to the center. "That's the core. If we destroy the uplink tower, we stop the Skyfall signal." "And Icar?" Logan asked. Zara's eyes narrowed. "Leave him to me." Final confrontation. Inside the fortress, blasters fired. Sirens wailed. Smoke filled the corridors. Zara broke off to hunt down Icar, her footsteps silent and fast. Logan reached the uplink tower, a pulsing beam shooting skyward. A countdown blinked red. Bordraws 07-19. He rushed toward the console. "Brutus, guard the door." The beast stood tall as enemy soldiers approached, roaring, clawing, refusing to let anyone near. Inside, Logan worked fast, wires sparking, sweat pouring down his face. 3:42, he pulled cables, smashed relays, overrode codes. 59, then, silence. The beam flickered. And died. The Skyfall strike was stopped. Elsewhere. Zara versus Icar. She found him in the command center, armor glowing red. "You betrayed everything," he growled. "No," she replied. "You did." They clashed, blade against blade. Sparks flew. Zara moved faster, smoother, filled with purpose. Finally, she brought him down. Icar coughed, bleeding. "You protected the human. I protected peace." Victory. Logan walked out of the compound. Brutus limped beside him, still alive, still strong. The team cheered. Zara joined them, wiping blood from her cheek. "It's done," she said. Logan looked at the rising sun. "No," he said quietly. "It's just beginning." The sun rose over the jungle, casting golden light on broken trees, scattered weapons, and one strange alliance that had survived the impossible. Logan stood atop a ridge near the edge of the now silent fortress. Below him, humans and Virexans worked side by side, removing mines, salvaging supplies, and patching wounds. Brutus lay beside him, resting but alert. His scales shimmered in the morning light and his eyes calmly scanned the horizon. Zara stepped beside Logan, her armor scratched and dented. She didn't speak for a long time. Neither did he. Finally, she asked, "You ever think you'd end up here?" Logan chuckled softly. "Nah, I thought I'd spend my life fixing mining drills, not taming alien monsters or stopping doomsday weapons." Zara smirked. "Well, you're more than a miner now. You've become a symbol." Logan looked at her, confused. "A symbol?" She pointed down the hill. A group of children, Virexan and human, were drawing shapes in the dirt. One had scratched out a tall man beside a huge beast. They'd even etched a crude flag above it. They're calling you beast friend in some cities, Zara said. Others call you the human banner. Logan rubbed the back of his neck. That sounds like too much responsibility. Brutus made a soft growling noise, almost like laughter, at the emergency assembly on Virexan Prime. For the first time in history, both Virexan and human envoys sat together in the Grand Hall. Logan had been invited, not as a soldier, not even as a diplomat, but as the one who proved a human could walk with a beast feared by the galaxy. He stepped up to the center of the grand chamber. Hundreds of eyes watched him. Cameras hovered overhead, broadcasting to millions. He didn't give a long speech. He just said, "What you fear is sometimes what needs you most." Then he pointed to the side, and Brutus entered. The entire chamber went silent. No chains, no guards, just a 7-meter apex predator walking with calm dignity beside the man it had chosen. No one spoke. No one dared move. Then slowly, someone clapped. Another followed. Then the entire chamber erupted into applause. Not for power, but for the impossible partnership that had changed the course of war. Later that night, on a hill outside the capital, Zara sat beside Logan on a quiet slope. The city lights blinked far below. "Did you know," she began, "that we once used apex beasts as gods? We worshipped them, made statues. Then one turned on us and we feared them ever since." Logan looked at Brutus. "Seems like he's rewriting history." Zara nodded. "Or maybe you are." He looked down at the new flag, freshly stitched by Virexan and human hands alike. Half human, half beast design. "Peace is still fragile," Zara whispered. "Some want to strike again." Logan clenched his fists. "Then we remind them of today." She tilted her head. "With another speech?" He grinned. "No. With a walk. The walk of the beast. The next day, across multiple cities, thousands gathered. From the mountains of Virexa to the edge of the Terran base camps, they saw the same thing. A human and an apex predator walking through the streets. No weapons, no fear, just trust. People stared. Some cried. Some dropped to their knees. Children reached out to touch Brutus's massive legs. He let them. Meanwhile, the final threat, watches. From afar in deep space, far beyond known systems, another species watched the broadcast. Tall, pale, silent. Their leader's mouth curled into a grin. "Humans tamed a nightmare," she said. "That makes them dangerous." Her assistant nodded. "Shall we begin preparations?" The leader turned toward the stars. "Yes, if they can walk beside monsters. They might be ready for us next." Peace didn't come with fireworks. It came quietly. After the broadcast of Logan and Brutus walking side by side through cities, humans and aliens alike dropped their weapons. Not all, but enough. All across the Virexan Empire, old enemies began to speak again. Trade routes reopened. Soldiers started to remove armor and put on uniforms of peacekeeping. And in Earth's upper chambers, Logan Pierce's name was being spoken like legend. But peace never lasts forever. At the edge of the galaxy, a ship appeared. Not human, not Virexan. It was dark, shaped like a claw. Silent. Cold. Old. The species that controlled it was not known to either Earth or the Empire. They didn't speak. They didn't negotiate. They only observed, and now they had seen enough. Logan's life had quietly changed. He wasn't a miner anymore. He wasn't a soldier either. He was something else. Something harder to define. A symbol. A bridge. A man who had crossed the boundary between fear and friendship. Everywhere he went, Brutus followed. Children waved. Adults stepped back. Zara never left his side. At night, Logan would sit with a small notebook writing about his journey, wondering how the universe had changed so quickly. "I'm still just me," he once told Zara. "No," she replied. "You're what we never thought possible." The arrival of the outsiders. It began with stars vanishing, whole systems going dark. Then came the messages, scrambled, broken. One by one, border worlds disappeared. The new enemy didn't bomb cities. They absorbed them. No demands, no mercy, only a message beamed across known space. You made peace with the beast. Let's see how you handle something worse. The Emergency Alliance Council, Earth and Virexan leaders gathered once more. Zara stood in full formal armor. Logan, now wearing a simple black coat with the peace insignia on the sleeve, stood beside her. He listened as the leaders argued. We don't know what they want. We need to arm every ship. This could end everything. Finally, Logan raised his hand. The room went silent. We've already faced monsters, he said. But maybe, this time we don't face them alone. He looked toward the screen, where footage of Brutus standing beside young Virexan and human children played. If you want to survive what's coming, you don't need stronger weapons, you need stronger bonds. Zara's mission. Zara was chosen to lead a joint defense force. She took Virexan commandos. Logan took human engineers and thinkers. And Brutus took the front line, not as a beast of war, but as a message. We are not afraid of monsters. We make them our allies. The first contact. When the outsiders arrived, they didn't come in fleets. They came through rifts, black spirals in the sky. Out of one came a creature twice the size of Brutus. It moved without sound, without heat. Pure void. It attacked everything, until Brutus stood in its path. The jungle shivered. The void beast paused and Logan stepped forward, hand out. I know you're angry, he whispered, but maybe you don't have to be alone. Everyone held their breath. The void beast shrieked, shaking mountain spine, but didn't attack. A new beginning. The creature backed away. Not tamed, not beaten. Seen. And for the first time in history, humanity wasn't just known for war, but for walking beside what others feared. Logan turned to Zara. Looks like we've got work to do, she nodded. Let's teach the galaxy what it means to be human. And Brutus roared to the stars, this time not in rage, but in welcome. The void beast vanished into the rift, not defeated, not destroyed, but changed. Across the jungle plains, everyone, human and Virexan, stood in stunned silence. No bombs, no blood, just peace, earned not by violence, but by something far more rare in the galaxy, understanding. Logan lowered his hand. Brutus stepped beside him, calm once more. Zara exhaled the breath she'd been holding. You did it again, she whispered. You faced death, and spoke to it. Logan gave a tired smile. Maybe monsters just need someone to listen. Weeks later, the first intergalactic accord, the Human Virexan Alliance, grew into something greater. Species that once ignored the war were now sending envoys to Earth and Virexa. Everyone wanted to learn how the Apex Tamer had done the impossible, twice. Logan hated the attention. He still preferred quiet corners, jungle air, and Brutus chewing on bones. But he couldn't escape the truth. His name was now legend. In schools, stories were told. Alien children whispered tales of the man who walked with the beast. Some called him a warrior, some called him a speaker of monsters, and to some he was just Logan the human. But one thing was clear. His bond with Brutus became a symbol of hope, of peace, of fear transformed into friendship. One night, under Alien, Star Zara found Logan sitting beside a fire, scratching a tired Brutus behind the ears. I heard they want to name a star after you, she said, sitting beside him. Logan sighed. Why not name it after him? He said, nodding at Brutus. She laughed. You're still humble, after all this? I'm still me, Logan replied. Just a guy who didn't want to die alone in a jungle. He stared into the fire. But now I think, maybe I didn't survive because of Brutus, maybe I survived for him. Zara grew quiet. You changed everything, she finally said. No, Logan corrected. We did. Far away. Something stirred, in a cold system beyond charted Space, a council of ancient minds, spoke in silence. The humans walk with predators. The galaxy listens to their voice. Do we confront them now? The final voice echoed louder than the rest. No, we watch. And when the human falls, we strike. But the galaxy was no longer blind, and Logan Pierce's name was now carved into the stars. Epilogue. A jungle revisited. Logan returned to where it all began. The clearing. The ruined outpost. The broken vines where Brutus first spared his life. He placed a small metal plaque in the ground. Here, a man met a monster. Here, they became friends. Here, everything changed. Zara walked up behind him, resting a hand on his shoulder. Ready to go? She asked. Logan stood. Brutus rose beside him. He smiled. Let's see what other monsters are waiting to be understood. Peace had returned, but peace never lasts forever. Weeks after Logan placed the memorial plaque in the jungle, strange signs began to appear. In the outer colonies far beyond Earth and Virexa, whole outposts went silent. Satellites stopped transmitting. When scouts arrived, they found no bodies, just claw marks, massive ones, and scorched trails that didn't match any known energy signature. Zara stood over the latest report, her jaw tight. This isn't random, she muttered. Logan glanced over her shoulder. You think it's the void species again? No, she said, shaking her head. These creatures don't leave death, they leave a message. She turned the data pad around. At the center of the burned camp wall was a massive symbol, a claw, wrapped in chains. Meanwhile, in deep space, a dark ship hovered in the shadows between suns. Inside, dozens of armored figures bowed before their leader. Her skin was pale like bone, and her eyes glowed like dying stars. She raised a single finger. He walks with the apex. Let's see if he can walk with the silent claws. Her soldiers stood up, twice the size of normal beings, their armor fused to their bodies. Find the human, she said softly. Bring me his beast. Back on Virexa, Brutus began to grow restless. He paced more. He howled more often at night. He refused to eat, then devoured entire carcasses in one bite. Logan sat near the campfire, watching. He senses something, he whispered. Zara looked up from her scanner. Then we better trust him. Suddenly, Brutus froze, ears twitching, eyes glowing with alertness. A moment later, the forest moved. Not wind, not leaves, shapes. In the dark, silent, fast. Zara jumped up. We're being watched. Laser nets shot out of nowhere. Brutus roared, tearing one apart before it wrapped his leg. 3 massive figures emerged from the darkness, taller than any Virexan. Their armor shimmered with an oil-like glow, and their claws gleamed. Logan stepped in front of Brutus. Back off! The lead attacker pointed at him and spoke in a hissing tone. The tamer of death walks with pride, but will he kneel when death has no voice? Then they attacked. The fight was brutal. Zara moved like lightning, her plasma blades humming. Logan dodged blasts and pulled Brutus's leg free. But the silent claw warriors were trained, faster, smarter, stronger. Brutus slammed, one into a tree, but another leapt and stabbed a spear into his side. Brutus! Logan shouted. Blood poured. Zara slashed 2 down, but the third disappeared into shadow. They retreated as quickly as they came, leaving behind no bodies, only pain, and another burned mark in the ground. This one wasn't just a claw. It was a broken chain, medical camp. Hours later, Brutus lay sedated in a healing field. Logan never left his side. Zara returned from a meeting with the Virexan High Command. They call themselves the Silent Claws, she said quietly, a rogue species that once served the apex beasts long ago. But they believe humans enslaved their gods. Logan frowned. They think I'm a threat. They think you're corrupting something pure. He looked at Brutus's wounds. Then, I need to remind them of one thing. Zara raised an eyebrow. What? He stood slowly. The bond between me and Brutus wasn't forced. It was chosen. And I'll prove it, no matter who or what comes next. Far away, the enemy watches in, the shadows of a dying moon. The pale woman watched her display screen. Blood samples, combat footage, scans of Brutus's DNA. She smiled. He's wounded. Good. She turned to her warriors. Next time, bring the human to me. The jungle was quiet again, but not peaceful. Brutus was healing, his side wrapped in alien bandages, his breath heavy, his golden eyes dim. Logan sat beside him, refusing to sleep. His mind burned with one thought. They weren't done. Zara entered the tent. Her armor looked sharper than ever. Her face was set like stone. They've sent a final message, she said. The Silent Claws want you to come to them. Alone. Logan blinked. Why? They don't want war, she said slowly. They want proof. They want to test the bond between you and Brutus in front of their queen. Logan looked down at the beast beside him. Brutus growled weakly and nudged Logan's arm. He wants to go, Logan whispered. The journey to the silent moon, it took 2 days in a stealth ship to reach it. A dead moon orbiting a red gas giant. No cities, no sunlight. Just stone, ice, and old bones. The Silent Claws waited on the dark surface, hundreds of them in a giant circle. Their leader, the pale queen, stood at the center. Her long fingers glistened like knives. When Logan stepped into the ring, they didn't attack. They watched, studied. Then the queen spoke. Human, you claim the apex obeys by choice, then prove it. Release him. Let him decide who he walks beside forever. Zara grabbed Logan's arm. It could be a trap. Logan stepped forward. No collar, no leash, no command, he said. Only truth. He looked at Brutus and unstrapped the harness. Go, Logan whispered. You're free. Brutus stood still. The queen tilted her head. He will leave you. But Brutus didn't leave. He stepped forward, growled once, then walked a slow circle around Logan, never looking away from the Silent Claws, and returned to the human side. He sat, then let out a deep, echoing roar, not for war, but for loyalty. The moon shook with its force. The Silent Claws fell to one knee, every single one of them, even the queen. He is no slave, she said softly. He is bonded. Logan said nothing. He simply placed a hand on Brutus's head. The bond wasn't broken. It had never been stronger. Back on Virexa, days later, peace talks continued. The Silent Claws requested seats at the table. The galaxy watched in awe. For the first time, humans, Virexans, and a lost predator race now stood as allies. Children played with Brutus in the open fields. Zara stood on a balcony, watching it all. You changed the world, she said as Logan stepped. Beside her, Logan shook his head. No, we did. Me, you, and the beast everyone feared. Brutus, as if hearing them, raised his head toward the stars and let out a low, peaceful rumble. Final scene. Years later. A statue stood in the jungle clearing where it all began, a human, man and apex beast, standing side by side. Below the statue, the words were carved in both human and alien languages. He didn't tame the monster, he earned its heart. And across the stars, wherever fear lived, so did the legend of the human, who walked with death and turned it into a friend.